podcast. We're on episode number 29.
39.
39.
Numbers mean things, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely. So, yeah, we got a light episode here. Get it? No veg? Light. But we do have our gold goblins with us. Say hello,
all
guys.
gold gobbling all the time.
Yes. You up to 1 million yet?
No, I made almost nothing. I'm kind of on I'm a hiatus until the X Pack.
Aha. Yeah, X-Pack. That's coming in 2 weeks or 2 months rather. So I'm getting excited about that. Let me tell you. But yeah, we got a pretty good episode today. Let's start it out with our news. First up, I have Microsoft has apparently put in an offer to buy Minecraft for $2 billion.
Well, they're going to buy all of Mojang, I think.
Yeah, Minecraft, of course, included with that. What do you
But
guys
look
think
at
about that?
Scrolls and Cobalt 2, which no one cares about.
Yeah.
Cobalt 2, what's that?
Scrolls and Cobalt also.
Yeah, I don't know.
Those are the two other games that Mojang makes that no one cares about.
Yeah, they make Minecraft.
Yeah, I thought all they made was Minecraft.
No.
That's all they make. Pretty big acquisition.
Yeah, it's not bad. I mean, it'd be interesting to see if Microsoft kind of lets them, leaves them alone, or whether they're gonna, do their usual of embrace, extend, extinguish on it.
Well, when Amazon bought Twitch, apparently, I don't know if it was in the written contract, but the idea was that Twitch made them promise that they're not going to interfere and just let them keep operating as they did, but just own them and take their profits. Just as a point of reference, on the 18th of December of 2012, Notch tweeted, "Anyway, my price is $2 billion. Give me $2 billion and I'll endorse your crap."
Kind of
That was,
foreshadowing.
I think that was after Windows 8 came out, and they were asking him to endorse Minecraft for Windows 8, and he said Windows 8 sucks and I hate it and I hope it goes away. So he was very negative about Microsoft at the time, and so then I think it came back to that. So I think that that's a pretty funny thing about 2 years ago that he said that, and that's coming true.
In his defense, Windows 8 is a pile of crap.
Yeah.
Oh no, I think everyone agrees with that.
Yeah, I was very very shocked to see. Of course, all the speculation now coming out. What are they buying them for? Obviously, it's the however many millions of players that play it.
Sure.
There are a lot of people playing Minecraft, and you count me among them. I haven't played in a while, but yeah, I got myself a copy not too long ago.
Yeah, I mean,
I
it
started
seems
during
like
alpha.
it seems like just about everybody I know that even has a kid, sometime somewhere between the age of 5 and 90 something, they play Minecraft. It's insane. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a huge phenomenon.
That game scared the crap out of me.
I thought that it was a indie gaming thing, and then last year 2 kids came to my door dressed as, one was a creeper and one was a zombie from Minecraft, and they were 6. I mean, they were children.
Yeah.
So
My nephew, he's 10 years old, he plays it.
it's a fun game. I'm actually kind of excited for my son to be old enough to play it with me someday. So I'll probably buy a second license just to let it sit around. Hopefully it stays.
Those creepers are scary, man.
Yeah.
Those things
No,
jump me
and-
out of my chair.
Endermen are way more scary.
What? You look at them and they kill you? Big deal. These creepers, they just sneak up on you and go, boom, hi, and then you're dead. It's like, what?
That's a really nice house you got there. It'd be a shame if anything happened to it.
Yeah, exactly. Creeper. Bye-bye. So, yeah, Microsoft and Minecraft. We're seeing a lot of big acquisitions lately, too, with Twitch and all, so kind of interesting to see how this will all pan out. But that's my news, Brox. What do you got?
So I've got Nintendo kind of not really understanding marketing again with their new 3DS. This time it's not the old 3DS. It's so what they're doing is they've announced it's coming out, I think, October 11th in Japan, sometime 2015 in the U.S.
Right.
Yet another revision of the 3DS. So this time it is in 3D, unlike the 2DS.
It's not the 2DS.
It's not the 2DS. It is a 3DS. So a 3D 3DS. But it also has the another analog stick on the right side, and
A little tiny one.
little tiny one, and 2 extra shoulder buttons. And they're saying, great, here we go. Yes, we were selling the CirclePad Pro, which does effectively the same thing. This time we're going to integrate it all in the hardware. So first glance, it's okay. Well, they're just taking one of the peripherals, including in the hardware. There you go. The kicker is that it also has upgraded CPU, and has a little more power, a little more memory. So there are going to be some games that will only run on the new 3DS, that will not run on old 3DSs, and it makes no sense to me. I mean, especially when you get some people going in the store buying a game for little Timmy, saying they want this game. He has a 3DS, and they say, well, no, you need the new 3DS. Well, yeah, it's new. It's from last year.
Yeah.
I won't run on that one.
It's almost the same crap that they did with the Wii U. It's like there were a lot of people that thought the Wii U was just a video, like a controller with a screen on it. They didn't understand that it was a new console.
Yeah, that actually happened to us. I mean, we were, came back to the U.S. for a couple months to have a baby, and I said, hey, the Wii U just came out. I'd like to get a Wii U. And my wife was saying, why? Your Wii is still back in India. What is a Wii U going to do for you? Like she honestly thought it was a peripheral for the Wii. I mean, it's the same type of thing. I mean, if it's going to be a new console, it's going to only play a game. There are some games that can only play on that, not the older ones. Call it something else and say it's backwards compatible.
I think Nintendo kind of takes a little bit of a page from Apple sometimes, and Apple did that with the iPad. They had the iPad and the iPad 2, and then the iPad again.
Yeah.
I questioned that as soon as that happened. But in Nintendo's case here, I just think they're going to be a victim of their own success in that they think that they can do with the 3DS what they do with their Zelda and Smash Brothers games.
Yeah.
Well, saying, hey, we have a 3DS, and everyone's going to buy it.
Well,
now,
the thing is,
it only works with Zelda and Smash Brothers.
Well, because that's only $50.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think part of it is that they had the original DS when it came out was not very good. I mean, it was all right, but like it was something that kids got for Christmas, and the general gaming population was not really interested in it.
Yeah, it took a long time for it to really get
when they released the DS Lite, people were like, "Holy crap, this is a good system." There's a lot of really good RPGs on it. Like you had Final Fantasy Tactics, and eventually you had like The World Ends With You, and like you had all these really great games for DS. And they played on DS Lite and it had a better screen and everything. Mm-hmm. So I think they think that if they release a new version that they can, I mean, the DS Lite was basically printing them money. Mm-hmm. So when they made the XL and then like the DSi and then the DSi XL, like they think that if they release a new version that they can pick up, people will pick it up that already have the old ones. And I think they're reaching a saturation point. You can only have so many versions of the DS.
Yeah, exactly, and I kind of worry about them following the same path that Sega did, where you're just flooding the market with so many different types of hardware that it's just going to confuse the gaming population, or confuse the general public. I mean, Sega, to an extent, did the same thing back in the 90s when they had the Genesis, they had the Sega CD, they had the 32X for whatever reason, and the Saturn, and it was all out at the same time, and and they were expecting people, hey, since we're Sega, people are just going to buy it. Now that only really works for Sony, and that's about it.
In Nintendo's defense, none of the DSs eat 6 AA batteries in 1 hour.
That is true. That is true. I remember that from my old Game Gear. I mean, that thing was a beast in battery life.
Crazy.
It had the little, like the 2-inch screen.
Oh, but it was awesome because you could watch TV on it if you had the TV tuner. I thought that was a really cool thing. I mean, it didn't work well, but you could tell your friends you could watch TV on it portably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's my news. Nintendo not knowing marketing.
Well, that's unfortunate for them. But Dan, I think you got the top news of the day.
Yeah.
Well, to be honest, I don't have a lot about it. I think we're gonna have to have Brox talk about it. But Destiny launched, which is a big deal. This is the new IP from Bungie. I mean, if you didn't know, they created Halo and Marathon before it, and Destiny is sort of a FPS RPG hybrid, sci-fi themed, and that's kind of all I know. Other than it's the most expensive game of all time to produce, and it so far has. I think they've already paid for it, but I'm not positive. They've.
So they made $500 million on the first day.
Yeah.
Somewhere close to it.
It says right here, Destiny crosses $500 million on day one. Biggest new video game launch ever. Which I read a couple of reviews on it and says the gameplay is awesome. The story, not so much.
Yeah, I mean, I've been approaching the story of Destiny the same way I approach the story in Diablo. Like, yeah, okay, who cares? Next. Go kill things.
Yeah, this isn't Planescape.
Yeah, I mean, there's some times when I think Peter Dinklage is, reading his lines in front of him for the, to voice Ghost, and like he just doesn't care at that point. He's just like, I don't know what the hell it is they're telling me to do. I'm just gonna go ahead and read it and not put anything.
That's exactly what the review I read on it said. Is that he pretty much phoned it in.
Yeah, and it's. I mean,
he's probably like, I get $20 for every word that I say. Let's say some words.
Yeah.
It's been an interesting game.
I'd be excited about that then. It's like, you have like words in front of me. That's $20. Yes, this is $20. Yes. Look, this is an A. That's $20.
That's $20 right there. It's been a fun game so far. I mean, I've been playing it off and on since Tuesday on the PS4, and not very far into it. I'm only about level 6, but it's interesting. I mean, it's not as MMO as some sites are making it out to be. Going out, at least in the early missions, I see maybe 5 or 6 other people. I mean, they try to limit how many other folks are in your same area. Sometimes it's good. Sometimes it's like, no, I wanted to kill that guy. I wanted to get the ammo off of him. Quit taking my crap. But one cool thing that has happened so far is, I mean, I was just out doing, one of their, what they call it, a patrol quest, almost like a daily quest type of thing. You just go out and find small little missions in this area and do them. And all of a sudden, there's like giant things pop up on the screen, community events, and they're like this, just massive swarm of enemies started coming down, and all of a sudden a whole bunch of people all just popped in there all at once, which is kind of a dynamic thing, like just this huge firefight, which I thought was pretty interesting. I mean, I haven't seen anything quite the same in any other MMOs that I've played, which I thought was a pretty good something different.
It sounds a little bit like if like a world boss, like if what was it, the Shah of Anger? Mm-hmm. What was the other one in Kunlai Summit? Like if that guy appeared randomly instead of in a known place, and everyone would like wait and go get him.
Right. Yeah, it was kind of similar, except for, I mean, this didn't seem to be in a known place. It just happened, and then would just instance people in, as needed. As more people came in, more enemies were coming in and swarming in. It was pretty interesting until a level 20 guy showed up and just started, wiping the floor with everything. So, but it's, I've heard it described as kind of, you get the sci-fi element of Halo, and you have all the loot system of Borderlands, with random loot everywhere, and so far I haven't seen the Borderlands aspect of it too much. I mean, after going through these story missions, you get maybe 1 or 2 pieces of loot at the end of it, and that's it, versus just the piñatas that you see in Borderlands.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a slower pace, it feels like, than some of the other ones out there.
Very nice. So yeah, Destiny. That seems, to me, I think if you haven't heard about Destiny yet, you're living under a rock.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, I haven't even tried to go out there and learn anything about this game, and it's been all over news sites. And when it launched, it's $500 million. It's just like insane. So, Destiny, should definitely check that out if you get some time. But we'll move on from our gaming news to our game pick of the week.
Pick of the week.
Pick of the week. Brox, what you got?
I've got a game for the PS Vita called Muramasa Rebirth, which is actually a kind of a remake of a Wii game called Muramasa Demon Blade. So it's one of those ones, I'm sure it has some of a story to it, but it's another one of those ones where I'm like, I don't care about the story, just go kill things. It feels like an old 2D beat-em-up type of thing, where you can play one of 2 characters, at least in the first part of the game, where what you do is basically go from level to level, you slice things up with your blade, in each little, you go from room to room almost. And when you get into a room, sometimes there's treasure, sometimes there's a bunch of monsters that come out, you got to kill them, and you can collect or craft up to 70 different katana blades, and each one has different properties, different special attacks, things like that. It's been a great game to just kind of kill the time, 15, 20 minutes at a time, and then you just shut it off and go do something else, and you just have a quick bit of time to kill. And what was nice is I think it was a month or 2 ago it was free on PS Plus, so I was like, okay, I'll pick it up. Don't know too much about it, and it's really taken up a good chunk of my attention lately.
Very nice. Now, you said it was a old style. Is it entirely 2D?
It is entirely 2D, and it uses it's not sprite, or it's not like hand-drawn sprite animation or anything like that. I mean, it's definitely created with 3D graphics, but it's just 2D. I mean, you only have X and Y movement, and
So
that's
it's
it.
like Beautiful Joe or something.
Yeah, kind of very similar to Beautiful Joe in terms of the gameplay and or the style of it, and so it does kind of gate where you can go to an extent. I mean, there's some areas that said you can't get through these certain color barriers until you have a more powerful sword. So in some respects, it can kind of act like a Metroidvania type of thing, but you get the swords through the story events, and then you can kind of go to the different areas of the game. And so as you go to the new sections, the difficulty ramps up, of course, and things like that. But it's just kind of fun to go in there and slice things up with the sword for a little bit, and then move on about your day.
Very nice. All right. So I'll go next here. Of course, I've just been like pretty much knee deep into Diablo, with season 1 going on and everything. But I do find time, especially at work, to find some new games. And I have to put this plug out there. BGR.com. Every day, they put out a list of iOS apps that are free, and I think this one was on there not too long ago. I think that's how I got this one. And this game is called Teggle. It's made by a developer called Jay Vanderwee, and it's so simplistic. Basically, all you do is you start a game, and it starts off with these 2 rows. One of the rows, it might have an arrow on it. It might have a dot on it. It might have 2 dots on it. Depending on what's on it, you either swipe it, tap it, or double tap it. If there's an X, you don't touch it, or your game's over. Well, it starts with 2 rows. And then when you swipe it away, you get points, depending on how quickly you reacted to it. You get a new row coming up later with a different arrow on it. Now, there's one where the arrow changes, and it's a very fast-paced game. If you've got good reflexes, you'll do really good at this game. I pretty much got the highest score achievement on the game like within 5 minutes of playing it. For me, it was pretty easy, but it's so much fun. It's surprising how simple games can really just immerse you into it so quickly, and then you're trying to see if you can get a better score than the previous one. It's very hard for games these days to come up with a scoring game that keeps you interested in that score, and this one manages to do it. So it's called Teggle. It is iOS only, sadly.
I'll have to go check it out.
Yeah, it's still a decent game. Actually, I remember where I got this now. This was one of the Starbucks Game of the Days. That's where I got it from. So I think its cost is something like $2.99 or maybe $1.99. I don't remember, but yeah, it's available on. In fact, I can check. It's available on iTunes. It's 99 cents actually.
Oh wow.
Cheap and go. Yeah. So.
I'm amazed at how many good time sync games there are for iOS.
99 cents.
For the iPhone.
Yeah.
There's just a ton of them out there that I've enjoyed. The majority of the ones that I've seen on there that have been cheap or free.
Absolutely.
It's insane.
Yep. So cool. All right, Dan, what you got?
So side note along that is that if there's an app for iOS called Apps Gone Free, and that app will give you a list each day of like 8 to 10 apps that are free that day, and you can it directly links them to the App Store. So I found a couple, like I've gotten Infinity Blade 2 and just a couple pretty good games like The Room, just for free because it tells me when they're free. So
there's actually a Twitter account too. That's twitter.com/appsgonefree. I don't know if it's the same thing.
Yeah, it's probably the same group.
Yeah, pretty cool.
So my pick for this week is BioShock Infinite, specifically the DLC Burial at Sea, which is fantastic. I'm partway through the second part. There's 2 parts to the DLC, and I'm partway through the second part, and I've heard good things. I've heard it ends well. So unless for some reason I really hate the ending, it's going to basically sit atop my favorite games of all time. Between the original game and the DLC is just I don't something about it. Just the music and the story and the atmosphere of the whole thing has just been. I found the first game to be fun. I liked it. It's probably in my top 20, but it was not, for whatever reason, it was just not the same experience as this. Just something about it. Just I really enjoy it. It's one of those games where you're gonna finish it. I know I'm gonna finish it, and then think there's no more. I can't go back, and it really doesn't have a lot of replayability. So that's the game itself. I think we've talked about it in the podcast before. It has some twists that are um, pretty substantial and take a little bit of time to think of. It's a good balance between not being blatant. Like people who saw Inception and they're like, I don't get it. I'm like, they literally explained exactly what was happening every step of the way. So you had to think about it a little bit and pause it for a second and think about what they just said sometimes, but it was not confusing. Versus Primer, which you had to watch like 2 or 3 times to really understand what was going on. This is like in between that, right? Like there are things where after you finish the game, you have to sit there for like the next couple hours and kind of think about it a little bit, but you don't have to go back and replay the game to figure out what's going on. And then the DLC is kind of the same way. Like the end of the first part of the DLC has a major plot twist, which is expected, I guess, but exactly what happens you'd have no idea, and it's directly related to the first game, so you have to play the main game first. But it's just fantastic.
Yeah, very nice.
So I highly recommend it if you haven't played it.
And I do remember talking about this on a What the Thawk not too long ago. So definitely.
Oh yeah, the music. This one the music is not the same, but in the original game, part of the in Infinite, not the original BioShock, but there's the music is there's like these tears in reality, and so music from present day gets in, and there's like these covers of like I'm trying to think of one of the like there's a barbershop quartet version of God Only Knows by the Beach Boys. It's just really good. So
that's nice. Yeah, very cool.
Awesome.
And kind of along with that, I got a new mouse by the company Anker, Anker, and I rather like it. So if you're looking for kind of a budget gaming mouse, it's like $30 to $40 for 8,000 DPI and like 11 buttons or something.
All right.
It's a pretty good mouse if you're looking for something.
I'm actually looking at their website. I don't know if I'm looking at the wrong site or because it looks like they have like battery back. Oh yeah, they do have mice. Yeah, ianchor.com is the name of the website.
Yeah, I actually got an email from them saying we saw you bought one of our mice on Amazon and we're interested in how you like it. We need to know if you have any problems so we can make it right.
Now, which one specifically did you get?
I will look right now and tell you.
Does it have a constellation on the front?
No, it's not that one. That one looks a little bit. That one looks cool. I got the 8200 DPI.
Okay, so
it's got the Anker on
one
top.
with their logo on the front.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, that looks pretty interesting.
The 5000 DPI one that it looks like it has a constellation has basically the same buttons that my Logitech had, but the 8200 had more reviews on Amazon and people liked it better, so I went with that one.
All right. Yeah, because I'm looking for a mouse as well. My Cataclysm mouse has seen better days. I don't know if you'll be able to see it, what I'm talking about, but here's the mouse. You see the bottom part of it?
Oh, it's not supposed to look like that?
It's not supposed to look like that, no. It's supposed to be bronze all the way down. So obviously I've worked through that over the years. Plus the mouse double clicks at random and inconvenient times.
So that was the problem with my Logitech. And actually I fixed it after I got this mouse. I took it apart and I desoldered the micro switch under the button, and I soldered on a new one that I got off Amazon. Just so I have a backup mouse. But that's the problem, is that the spring inside the micro switch wears out. So you either have to there are guides you can find where you open up the micro switch and you adjust the tension on the spring, which is very difficult to do, and I ruined my spring trying it, so I just replaced the whole thing. But you can do it if you want to tinker.
Yeah, cool. All right, so I'm going to move on and bore these guys for a bit, because we're going to talk about LCS, because we've had a lot happen over the last 2 weeks. First of all, of course, the North American LCS finished recently, and wow, what an interesting tournament that was, with CLG getting relegated. Whoever thought that was going to happen? And then TSM, those guys, I can't even begin to say how cool those games were. Both of their series went to 5 games. First up against LMQ, they lost the first and the third game, but they won the second and the fourth game, and then the last game they just completely blew out LMQ. It was like a 20-minute game. It was ridiculous. And then they do the same thing to Cloud9, which was just amazing. Cloud9 had never lost a game in the LCS up to that point. So TSM beating them, pretty big deal. The other big deal was Curse Gaming. They're forever fourth once again. They ended at fourth in the season, fourth in the tournament. Those guys can't get out of fourth, and the looks on their faces just said everything. It's just like they didn't make Worlds. So going to Worlds for North America will be TSM getting first place, Cloud9 second place, and then LMQ. They actually, to beat Curse, they came back after being down 2-0 and won the next 3 games. That scene would play out twice more during the relegation tournament. The relegation tournament, where the bottom 3 teams from the EU and the North American regions played against the top 3 teams from the challenger scene for their spot in the LCS. So that's the way that the amateur teams get into the pro scene. And the first 2 days, on Tuesday, Copenhagen Wolves and Counter Logic Gaming both kept their spots. CLG was one of the teams that had to come back after being down 2-0 to win. So that was phenomenal. Gambit Gaming and Evil Genius is also retained on Wednesday. Those games were so quick that they were over by like 6 o'clock. They started at noon here, so it was over by 6. But it was the last game. Last day on Thursday, both of those series went the full 5 games. The first one was Unicorns of Love. They beat out, trying to remember who they beat out precisely. I want to say Millennium. So they beat out Millennium after losing their first 2 games, and they came back and won the next 3. So Unicorns of Love, best name in esports. I don't know what you guys think, but I love that name.
That one is pretty awesome.
Yes, and then we go from the best name in esports to probably the most blandest name in esports. Taking out Complexity, which makes me sad because Complexity was one of my favorite teams to watch. They lost to Team 8.
Huh.
Boring name. So Team 8 beat them, and they tried as well. Team 8 won the first 2 games, and then Complexity, it looked like they'd do it right again, win the next 3. But Game 5 wouldn't go their way, and Team 8 ended up taking it out. So, Unicorns 11, Team 8 joining the LCS.
I'll be right back.
Okay, so Pent will be right back. So Brox, you can steal the spotlight. Let's go on to the gold goblining tip.
Gold tip of the week. So since the patch 6 has already hit the PTR, that suggests that it's going to be coming live pretty soon, and with that, the expansion about a month later. Now is probably a good time to start unloading any kind of daily cooldown materials that you have if you're not planning on creating mounts and things like that with it. If you're planning on creating gear and things like that. If you've got a bunch of them sitting in the bank, historically the value has gone down quite a bit once the expansions actually launched through. Yeah. And so if you're sitting on a ton of living steel, a ton of spirits of the scroll of wisdom, if you're inscription, or I don't really play some of the other markets, I'm not sure what they have, but if you've got a bunch of them sitting in your bank, they're about to get a lot less valuable in terms of what you're making with them. If not in 1 month, definitely within 2 months. If history repeats itself like it has with when Cataclysm launched and when Mist launched.
Right.
I would give one potential caveat to that, and I would say that I think that the value of the Golem mount is going to go up eventually, because what's going to happen is everyone's going to stop doing their Jards cooldown. And so those materials aren't going to be available as often. And then, 4, 5, 6 months down the line, people are going to be looking for them, and no one's going to be making them. So if you're the only guy making them, you're going to be able to make them for whatever price you want.
True. Definitely. I mean, it seems like, with the expansions, the mounts are about the only things that are still, the mounts from the previous X-Pack are about the only things that still tend to make quite a bit of gold. But they, for the most part, make a lot of gold to begin with. The exception of now for whatever reason, the Voltron Panthers, I guess from the duping of the Onyx Panther, the Voltron Panthers that the Jewel Crafters can make, haven't really been moving well at all, from my experience. And I think it's because a lot of people are getting duped by buying the Onyx mounts, and now it's much easier if you don't have the Cloud Serpent or the I forget which faction it is that sells the
It is
recipes
Cloud
for
Serpent
them.
Rep.
Yeah, the Cloud Serpent rep. If you don't have it by now, I mean, it's incredibly easy to get by farming those eggs these days. So the value of those mounts, I've been trying to move for a while. I was trying to move just one of the basic jewel crafting mounts for 2 months and couldn't do it. And maybe they'll go back up in value once the expansion comes out. Mounts seem to be the only thing that's still moved from previous expansions.
You guys think the Royal Satchel will change in price at all? That being the 28 slot bag.
Possibly, but with all the bag space improvements and the UI improvements, that's a good question. For whatever reason,
that's hard to judge, and I would say the because I believe it runs on cooldown, so the price shouldn't change a whole lot because you're still not gonna be able to make the cooldowns any faster. So it's still the material itself is gonna get a little bit less expensive. It'll probably drop a little bit, but overall I think it's gonna stay pretty high.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's it. They mention about the extra quality of life improvements to the inventory system. That probably will have a lot to. I know just from seeing what happened to my gear in the beta that. I mean, I have so much space. I mean, I've got more space than I know what to do with.
Well, the toy box went away, and all your mats can stay in the bank. And sorry, the toys are going in the toy box, not. Yeah,
and I think even with your materials, they have a separate tab in the bank these days with the new version, which that's insane. I mean, I know on my main banking alt, that's all I have in the bank is just inscription bags. And so for materials and for the glyphs and everything. So it's kind of cool that I'm going to get a lot more space.
But, and crafting mats stacked to 200 instead of 20.
Which is a huge quality.
Yeah, that's
insane.
That's crazy. That's going to be awesome. I know when I'm going to go mining that I'm just going to be able to mine forever because I'm never going to fill up at that rate. 200? Oh, that's crazy. But it kind of follows what they did in Diablo too. With the gems, for instance, the gems used to only stack up to some ridiculously low amount, and then they increased them, and now they stack to 1,000, and now all the mats stack to 1,000, which is just great. It's really good. So hopefully that'll work for World of Warcraft as well.
Yeah.
Hopefully. It'd be interesting to see what that does to the auction house with some things, though. I mean, I assume we're going to be seeing some people that don't know any better that are posting stacks of 200 ore or 200 herbs on the auction house. When sometimes I go in there and I'm looking like, look, I only want 30, I only want 50, something like that.
Well, but I mean, Kyperite stacks to 200, and people were selling stacks like that. And actually, I ended up with a lot of good deals because they didn't understand the value, and I prospected the Kyperite instead of Ghost Iron and got a bunch of my gems out of it.
There you go.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's a very interesting topic, the whole thing about the auction hall. And of course, the auction hall, as you guys know, in the next X-Pack, it's going to be combined across all three auction halls, Neutral, Alliance, and Horde. You will be able to buy Horde stuff, they'll be able to buy your stuff.
Which for Lightbringer's not going to matter that much.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll help the Horde side.
Sure, it'll help a lot. Actually, I bet our volume is going to go way up.
Yeah.
So
I'm sure it will. Downside is I'm not sure how easy it'll be to stalk any competition I have on the other faction. I doubt they'll let me add them to friends list.
Well, what's the ratio on Lightbringer these days? Do you guys know?
It's like 80-20, I think.
Yeah, I know it was pretty similar to Corial Straws. Yeah, I can't find it right now, but basically Alliance outnumber the Horde considerably. So, yeah, good stuff. And then Pimp, what you got?
So, almost along the same kind of lines is that you need to plan ahead. So, if you are planning on making gold in the new expansion, you need to be thinking about it now. Don't just run into it and just guess, because you're not going to know what recipes you're going to want. You're not going to want to know. You're not going to have any idea how rare things are going to be. So you might pick up something that's incredibly rare and sell it for 20 gold because you don't know. So study up, know what the crafting skills are going to be, know what the materials are going to be. I mean, I'll tell you that when the first 2 or 3 nights of Mists, green tea leaf was selling for
Mm.
a couple hundred gold a stack or something like that. It was insane.
Green tea.
Uh,
Oh.
So, I mean, the simplest things that are now super cheap were selling for a lot because people needed it and they needed it early. So, and that's I think I talked about that last time is that gather with the intention of selling so that because
Yeah.
you can gather later, with the caveat to that that if you have a crafting ability and you have a gather ability, gather and then use that for your own crafting.
Mhm.
Um, or check because sometimes if you have like a cooldown to get a recipe and other people are already selling that recipe, you might make more from the raw materials.
All right. Absolutely. I know I'm going to be mining like a fiend when the expansion hits. That's pretty much what I did for every expansion, really. So, but yeah, cool. Expansion coming up, and we'll get a little more into that. We got the 6 minutes to release guild news coming up next. Garrosh, he likes dying, and I like that he likes dying. It took us a bit last week to do it,
It
but we
was
got him on the very last attempt.
10:30. Yeah.
Yeah, it was 10:30 on the very last attempt on Monday that we got him down. The prior week we got him down pretty early. Was that the week we tried to go back to Heart of Fear, and just got completely owned by Amber Shaper? I don't remember.
I wasn't there.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I know we beat him pretty early the prior week. So, yeah, and of course we're right on him. We actually had 2 attempts on Wednesday. For the first time, we one-shot all bosses up to the bugs, including the bugs. And Garrosh, unfortunately, we died to him twice. We had some people from Moonguard with us, and they're not the reason that we failed it. But I mean, we didn't have a full guild by any stretch. We had to pug it. And even, Tuesday night was also a record. We got 9 bosses down in one night. That we've never done before. So, we're getting to the point where we could clear this in 2 nights, but we don't have the consistency yet. But fortunately, I mean, we're doing really good. I mean, we only 3 healed 3 of the fights. One of them was pretty much required because we only had 4. We had 4 melee otherwise. So we only have 1 range to go with the 3 healers in the 6 zones, and we still left the zone open even with me healing, so it was pretty bad. But we one-shot it, so it worked out. So as far as rating goes, we're gonna keep at it. I really don't see any reason to go to heroic, simply because I just don't think the rest of the guild is with me on that.
I don't think I love 6 minutes. There's a lot of staying out of crap in heroic, and 6 minutes is not good at that.
And yeah, for this particular expansion, we have a big problem with raid awareness, and it bugs me. It bugs the heck out of me. And that really makes me think that we just should stay the heck away from heroic. Unfortunately, I mean that's sad because I think that I think it's very important for us to learn these fights and keep on top of for those of us that do stay out of stuff, we want that challenge.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be honest, SOO is getting Karazhan level stupid right now for me. I mean, Karazhan I just got burnt out on Karazhan very fast. Largely because we were running it 3 times a week, but that's something else entirely. But I mean, I just want to get back to the point where we can, reliably run raids with a full group again. And I think we have to wait for Warlords for that because this is the end of the expansion.
Yeah.
There's 2 months left. Yes, we're probably going to get an influx back when 6.0 hits. Who knows where that is? It could be this Tuesday. It could be the Tuesday before BlizzCon. I don't know when 6.0 is going to hit. My bet's on sometime in October. But either way, the plan from here on out is we're going to keep raiding until the week of the expansion. That's the week after BlizzCon. By the way, the Wednesday of BlizzCon, I will not be here. I'll be hopefully in Orange County by then. Which means what will happen is Tuesday we'll run the normal raid. Wednesday, hopefully someone will be here to run a raid. If not, we'll wait till Monday when I get back. We'll run that raid, and then the next day will be Tuesday the 11th. Tuesday the 11th we will not raid. The 12th we will not raid, and the 13th we will start the race to 100. Now, as far as when raids will resume, Blizzard has come out and said that the raid will not even be open until December 2nd. This is for normal and heroic modes. Now, keep in mind, here's the other thing that I want to point out, is that starting with Warlords of Draenor, we are no longer a normal raiding guild. We are a heroic raiding guild. The reason for that being is because, of course, Blizzard has decided to keep change the difficulty names. So Flex is now becoming normal. LFR remains LFR, but Flex is now named normal. What is normal today is named heroic, and what is named heroic today is called mythical. So we are going to go to that. Our first day in there, we're going to do heroic. Now, just like the previous tiers, if we don't do very well in heroic, we'll kick it down a notch until we can handle it, which I'm fine. And of course, the first raid is so the first raid on 6 o'clock Tuesday, December 2nd, heroic highball. That's going to be our raid schedule for that day. We'll move to normal to gear up if necessary. And then also keep in mind, another thing to keep in mind is that these raids are of flexible size. Normal and heroic applies to both. That means that if we have 13 people, we don't sit anyone. We bring all 13. I have yet to decide, and this will be something that we'll have to bring up to discussion with the rest of the guild at one point. I've yet to decide if we're going to go with traditional loot or personal loot. And I'm leaning towards personal loot right now.
Is that one of the options that the raid leader can set when they go in there? Or?
It should. I haven't read anything recent on it, but this was back from about a year ago when they first announced the expansion, is that you'll have the choice.
Interesting.
How does that work?
Probably it's a setting just like heroic, 25-man, 10-man, like those kind of settings, where you right-click your tune and you get a menu that comes up. If you're the raid leader, there's some extra options there.
So it'd be like free-for-all, round robin, master looter, personal loot type of thing.
It could be. That's very likely. It could be one of those options.
And personal loot would be like the coin rolls as they stand now?
Exactly. It would be more similar to the LFR style of looting, whereas you will automatically get a roll for free, and then you'll probably have an option to do an extra roll if you have enough of whatever the currency is at the time. So I'm leaning towards personal loot just simply because I don't like loot drama. And even though our system is dead simple, it still causes loot drama. And I would just rather it be up to the player.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Of course, one of the advantages of using traditional loot is that, let's say you got your 9 people that are just zipping through everything, and you're carrying one person. You want to get that person geared up. That's the object of bringing them. Then you'd want to do traditional loot because that's more likely to give them more gear.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's a balance. So, I mean, it might come to the point where we might do it one way one night and one way another night, depending on who we bring. So,
yeah, especially with the personal loot. I mean, that's much more up there. It could be much more up there with just the RNG game. You can go for weeks without getting anything. I mean, I know I've seen that in Flex where I went. I just now got the trinket off of Nazgrim, and I've been playing Flex for 4 or 5 months now.
Absolutely, and of course, my deal with the chest piece, the tier chest piece, never dropped for me for months, many months. It was more than halfway through when I finally got it. So, I mean, it's like I said. I mean, there's pluses and minuses to it. So,
yeah.
And I'm the reason why I'm just leaning the other way is for less drama. I mean, that's honestly, I just want to go in and raid. Loot is a waste of time. Loot is a source of drama. Let's just go in and raid. That's that's my thought behind that. So we'll see if the rest of the guild agrees, or if people have a really good case for keeping it traditional as it is today. Like I said, I haven't decided yet.
I like the way it is myself, but I understand that there are some people in the guild that don't like the way it is, and I respect that. Sometimes people don't always see what's happening with every other person, and they don't understand. Sometimes it's better for someone to get a piece, even though they're not the person who's supposed to get the piece. And the way that our system works, it doesn't really take into account what's better for the guild necessarily. They take into account what the list says.
Absolutely, yeah. Um, and the whole point of the loot list was to be for betterment of the guild, so that one person doesn't get all the loot.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, there's various. Of course, I have to point this out with the mythical level. You don't get the choice. It is traditional loot.
Hmm.
And I believe you get 4 pieces to drop on mythical. So, yeah. So that's the thought. And then one last thing I wanted to bring up. What we used to do when we were running Flex was on Tuesday, no matter how many people we had, if we had 15 people, it didn't matter. We were advertising on Trade Chat to bring more people in. I plan on doing this pretty consistently on Tuesdays, with the exception of Tuesday the 12th, the first Tuesday. The first Tuesday I want it to be all guild. Of course, the point of this would be to bring in new players, get some fresh blood in, get people perhaps interested in the guild, get some new signups, get to the point where we're not pugging for the most challenging content, which is what we're pretty much doing now. We had Lid, we had Muirn, we had who's the other one? We had another Moonguard. Norru's playing on his Moonguard guy because he's just too scared to run his main guy with us because it's so undergeared. So we had 4 people from off server on Wednesday. I want to stop that. I want to, and not only do I want to stop that, I want to get to the point where we have what I would consider a core progression group. Now, whether that means going into mythical, I don't know. It's too early to tell that because we're kind of behind the 8 ball when it comes to progression right now. We did not tackle any of the hard content this X-Pack. With the exception of the first tier, and we just got around to doing that in the last couple of months. So,
yeah, and I think mythical may be tough to do just from a numbers perspective as well. It's
20.
It's just a flat 20 no matter
and
what.
that's why we need a growth plan, and that's going to be what the plan is to get people involved by bringing them into the raids, by getting them interested in the guild, get more signups, get more people raiding. Maybe at some point down the road, we'll have a group that goes into normal. We'll have a group that goes into heroic in the same night. Depends on how many people we get. Keep in mind, we're a guild that had 41 people online and ready to raid back in 3.3.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember when we were taking 2 or maybe even 3 teams in Ice Crown Citadel some nights.
Yeah, we had a 3-team night in Ice Crown Citadel one night. And we had a plan to do 25-man Anubarak one night, and we had 41 people sign up. I had to sit 16 people. I go nuts when I have to sit 1. 16 was just like, I mean, the worst thing that a raid leader has to do is sit people. And that night was just absolutely crazy. So hopefully with the new raid system, that's over. We don't sit anyone anymore.
Unless we get 26 people signed up for.
If we get 26 people sign up, we have a group of 13 and a group of 13.
True. That's true.
Yep. I mean, we can send multiple groups in. I mean, we can be that flexible now. And that's one of the things that I really like about this new raid system is that it takes a lot of pressure off of me to have to sit people to choose who to sit. Well, let's say I want to sit this guy one night because he's doing too low DPS, or I want to sit this person tonight because they're doing, they got all the gear that they need. Let's try to gear up some other people. I don't have to make that decision. I just bring them both. And even better, if it's personal loot, then they get whatever loot they want, So that's what I'm thinking. How well it works really depends on how well us as a guild commit to this. I'm really hoping that Tuesdays will become that night where we try to open ourselves up to newer players, to the guild. So hopefully we get there. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, sounds like a cool plan.
So yeah, I've talked a lot about SMTR tonight, so we're gonna move on, and we're gonna go to Shosan's favorite part of the podcast. This is what the fuck are you listening to?
What the fuck?
The fuck.
The fuck? And Pimp, you over. It's kind of funny because you overwrote the script, and I had a whole thing listed I even had the theme picked and everything, and you picked a different theme for the week. So I'll let
Yeah.
you.
Sorry, you were editing, and I saved first or
Oh,
second.
you say second. I say
saved
first. You
second.
say second. This is
I didn't
definitely
even
not
do
Google Docs.
There. Yeah, I'd like to Google Docs for that reason.
Yes,
But
but
This is convenient.
having it on Facebook is a lot better. I think it's just simply because it helps us coordinate better. Everyone's on Facebook. Whatever.
Yeah.
So, what the fuck are you listening to, Penth? I'll let you introduce it.
So I thought a good one would be the best theme song, and we all chose like 80s and 90s TV shows.
Hell yeah.
I think that's just a function of who we are, but I didn't actually limit it to that. So anybody who wants to write in, or anybody in chat,
Yeah, we got people in chat.
like 2 people in chat. So if you guys want to say anything, or if anybody later, once they're listening, wants to post on our page or whatever, tell us your favorite theme song. It can be from cartoons, movies, TV shows, commercials, whatever.
There you go.
So the one that I posted was the theme from Briscoe County Jr., which was an awesome sort of steampunk western show on, I think, USA or maybe like TNT or TNN in the early 90s with Bruce Campbell and some like this posse killed his pa, and he was out to arrest all of them. I think there were 12 of them that he had to go. Maybe there were 12 treasures in Pirates of Dark Water, but there are 2 series and neither of them ended. Neither of them ended when they had collected all the items. They ended prematurely.
Right.
But it had a really great theme, and
Pirates of the Dark Water, man, that brings back memories.
Yeah.
Go on.
So in fact, the theme was so good that if you listen to it, you'll think, wow, that sounds really familiar, even if you've never seen the show. And that's because I think NBC used it as part of their Olympic theme. So when they're like fading in and out of, when they like come back from commercial break or whatever, they'll play snippets of the song. So I've always really liked that song.
Very nice. All right, Brox, you got a classic here.
Got the A-Team.
All right.
Theme song from the A-Team. I mean, it's just, it just brings up, it's just awesome. I mean, I don't know what else can be said about it. I mean, it starts out kind of slow and then bust in there with a fanfare and like, yeah, Mr. T's gonna come kick your ass now. It's awesome. I even have an add-on in WoW that every time a Death Knight summons Army of the Dead, it plays the A-Team theme. Just because
that's amazing.
It's awesome. I mean, I'm not even sure it's available anymore, but I mean, I hear it all the time now whenever I go on a raid. Of course, my wife's like, I can't believe you still have that installed. That's just ridiculous.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. Is it just you or is it anyone?
If anyone summons it, so if I'm in a flex raid or something like that, or if I'm in LFR, I hear it. It goes off 2 or 3 times every boss fight. Just all of a sudden you hear dun 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 dun.
All right.
It's amazing.
I've actually linked to the add-on. It is called A-Team, one word, and it is available on.
It's amazing. That's all it does. It doesn't do anything else. It just plays the A-Team whenever somebody summons Army of the Dead.
That's all a good add-on needs to do.
Exactly.
Something simple like play the A-Team theme song. Yeah, you gotta love that.
Cole says he likes the Morrowind theme song.
Morrowind, ooh.
Oh yeah, that one's
which
good.
all the Elder Scrolls have a sort of similar theme songs.
Yeah.
They're all very good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my El Clasico was Star Trek: The Next Generation, specifically that series. It combines the original theme, the intro to that, with the movie, the first movie's theme, and it's just classic. It's just like whenever you hear the opening line, dun, 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 it's Star Trek, man. It's
that's Star Trek for me too.
I thought that theme song was better than the original, and that's why
I agree with you on that.
Agreed. Plus, it had it just kept warping across the screen. It's like.
The original did that too. I mean, the 2 intro sequences for the original series and the Next Generation were very similar, whereas they had that same intro read by the captain, and just action shots of the ship going into warp and stuff like that. it was really cool. And
Yeah, except it wasn't because the Enterprise A was on a 5-year mission, but the Enterprise D was on a continuing mission.
yeah, they didn't have 5-year missions in the 24th century, man. They ditched that stuff. You're out there, and you're out there for good until your ship blows up, man, or crashes into a planet, whichever. So
5-hour tour.
I think it was a 3-hour tour.
Whatever.
You ain't no
Oh,
skip.
I just thought of some runners up for me, which really were basically probably on before and after Briscoe County, was MacGyver and,
Oh my God!
yeah.
MacGyver!
and
Yes!
Quantum Leap.
Yes.
Quantum Leap. Okay, I don't remember that one, but MacGyver. Oh, jeez. I remember trying to play that on a keyboard when I was a kid. That series was just too awesome. Oh.
Wait, you don't that was my phone ringer for a while. Right now it's the Voltron theme song.
Voltron, yeah.
So you don't remember Quantum Leap?
I remember Quantum Leap, the series. I don't remember the theme song. I'll have to look it up.
Do 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 do.
I'll have to look it up. I don't remember. Oh, I do now. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, yeah. That series was just funky. I love that series.
There's just a great Sliders. That was just a great era for
Oh yeah.
Sliders
Sliders
is
was
just
awesome.
so underground though. That never really made mainstream, did it?
Not really. I think it only lasted 2 seasons or something like that. It
Oh
was a
no,
fantastic
that was
show.
That's
no, that went longer than
Was,
that.
was it longer than that? Maybe all I
It was
remember of it.
it went 4 or 5 seasons, but
Really?
the last season was kind of subpar, and the very last episode it did not come to a satisfactory conclusion.
Oh. Speaking of things that don't come to clean endings, like what, Pirates of the Dark Water.
Yeah.
Mm.
I didn't really. It's kind of funny because I liked watching it, but I never really got it. I never really understood everything that was going on.
Well,
Yeah,
I
I
don't
think
think
that's
they
what
ever
drew me into
explained
it.
the whole thing.
Yeah, it's just like when there's so much mystery like that, it's just like you want to know. And that's how shows like Lost get successful.
Mhm.
You know, they just drive that whole mystery into you, and you just want to know more, but they never tell you more. So, yeah, what the fuck? Oh, show's missing out, man.
What do you
Still
think
got-
show's favorite would have been? I think we should.
So now we're gonna speculate. I can tell you what Veg's favorite theme probably is: Dragon Ball Z.
Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, Dragon Ball Z.
Shosun? That's tough to predict, man.
The Snorks.
Snorks?
The underwater ripoff of the Smurfs.
Yeah.
Oh God, I remember that. Let's see if he's even on. What's your favorite theme song? He's been away for 10 hours, so I don't know if he's.
Yeah, I don't think I'll see it.
And who said it was the Snorks?
Me.
Hemp thinks it's the Snorks.
Come along with the Snorks.
Oh God.
So
good.
I don't remember how to do calculus. I'm an engineer, but I forgot most of my calculus. But I know pretty much every 80s theme song and cartoon theme song that I watched, even if it was only a couple times.
That's you learned the important things.
Yeah.
Well, it's just all that room got taken up in my brain from that, and I can't put anything else in it.
Absolutely. So, all right, that is what the fuck, and we're done here. Closing statements. Penth, any good impersonations this week?
I don't know. I'm trying to think of a good one.
While he's thinking of it, Rox,
Yeah, I got nothing.
leave
Closing
the audience
statement.
list.
Don't get eliminated.
Don't get eliminated. Yes.
Closing statement. This is.
Oh my. Oh my. He had to
A
go.
great guild leader you are. Yes.
Wow, that's impressive.
Mm.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Bob Ross Yoda. All right. Just the last thing that I want to leave with, just a personal self-plugging thing. I'm going to be going live tomorrow with Ron's Bronze Plays. That's right, Ron's Bronze Plays. That's my League of Legends play. I do it every week, Sunday night. Hopefully getting into a series this week, so we'll see. Other than that, I mean, I'm still streaming all the raids. So if you miss a raid, you can still come and check it out. And I'll even stream, I stream some of my Diablo stuff during the week. Just it's on the same channel, twitch.tv/RonClays. So come see it. We'll have a good time. Gentlemen, I think we're done.
That's it, and that's
We're
all.
done here.
And for the Six Gaming Podcast, I'm Ron.
I'm Brox.
I'm Penn.
And we'll see you next time. See you, bye.
Bye.